like I said, you either belong to this side or that side, and when the side comes, then you lose out, and when that side, and it's almost like a vengeful kind of politics we play because of the winner takes all system. Currently, we don't have we, the people of Ghana, being part of our decision making or our governance. Yesterday, I like listened to you guys all the time. But yesterday, I was listening to you as you talked about voting for your DCs and MMDCs, which is something we preach and we've talked about from time immemorial. I know that the NPP government or the current government tried to do it, but they made a conversation about partisanship, and then it degenerated, and we took our ball and went home and said we won't play again. But we must not take power from people if the people are able to vote for their president, who sits in Accra most of the time, why aren't they capable of voting for their local government's representatives? And as soon as we do that, we, decentralize governments, people actually have a say. They are able to hold their governments accountable at the local level. I was talking to someone in one of the major parties, and he said, well, we didn't do it because it's not part of our philosophy. And I thought, why not? Why don't you want the people to have power? The two parties probably don't want people to have power because they're afraid of losing power that way. But in fact, it promotes development. You see, if we vote for our own DCs and MMDCs, the law actually says that 5% of our revenue should be given to the DCs and MMDCs or to the districts. They're not doing that now. I think it's between 1.9% to 2.5%.
So let me get something. So you're saying that first point is unity because there's division, and the second point is to allow people to
allow people to have power. Disseminate power so that the people have a say in their own.
But yeah, some people felt that voting for MMDCs on a political basis further entrenches the division that you want to cure. So that if you have NDC, MPP, PPP now having candidates for DCE, that means that even at the local level, it's now politics, which is what the MPP said they didn't want.
Well, you see, we have to start somewhere. Let's first do what we want to do, give power to the people. Whether it's partisan or non-partisan, let's do it. What do we want? We want the people to elect their own officials at the local level. When we have done that, it's a journey. We don't get perfection from the get-go. But what we want is that people vote their own officials. And I think we were denied that opportunity to decide what we wanted when we tried to do it, asking for partisanship or non-partisanship. Point is, we have so many other parties apart from the NDC and the NPP. We may be pleasantly surprised to find that if we give people that opportunity, they'll say, I want my DC to come from the PPP, or I want my DC to come from the CPP or the PNC, or any of the others apart from the two. Thing is, when you do that and the person is voted into power, if you've noticed, even now, within the two major parties, people are concerned about their their votes and their popularity with their people. And that is why you have that problem now in Fomena. Because the people believe in the person. They don't believe in the party anymore. And therefore, if we do that, we are giving the people the opportunity. When that 5% doesn't go, and it's 1.9%, part of which even the MP is coming to take, then they can decide that, look, I will speak up because my party is not, and we have MPs speaking up now. They will be able to speak up to say, look, this development project, I'm not getting my common fund allocation, or I'm not getting the 5%. But when they are appointed, they continue to be appointed by the president along party lines because the president appointed them. They are unable to speak up or speak up against their
okay, fine. So yes, unity, local governance. But is that it? Is that the message?
That's not
what
it.
else?
We are big on education. We want we want to provide free compulsory universal basic education from the KG to SHS. I know we have free SHS right now, and I always like to start from what do we have right now. What we have right now is we have free SHS, fantastic, but good. But from the basic all the way through to BEC before SHS. It may be free. I understand that they still pay little things, but it's certainly not compulsory. So as much as we want our children to be in school and we want people to be educated at a certain level, and of course the reason we want people to educate so that we have a certain level of human resources that can feed into the jobs in the country, we don't enforce education. So you still have many children, many girls who don't go to school, and nobody cares whether they are in school or not.
So make the compulsory part.
We're making the compulsory, we're enforcing the compulsory part from basic all the way through to SHS. Another thing we want to do is we want to abolish the BEC.
You want to abolish the BEC?
Yes, we want to take out the BEC.
Why do you want to abolish the BEC?
Why do we want to abolish the BEC?
Yes.
Well, each year of BEC in the last 10 years, we've lost about 100,000 kids thrown out of school because they fail. And when they fail,
as in they can't continue to SHS.
Can't continue to SHS, and that is it. And they end up in all manner of things. I think that if I can get my facts right, a driver needs to have at least SHS to be able to simply read road signs and read his dashboard and things like that. But what do we have now? What's accounting for our road accidents? We have so many people who can't read, who don't even see can't figure out road signs. And we put 60 people in a bus, and these people are driving them. So we need to ensure that the education is enforced and children remain in school all the way through to at least what they call in other countries a high school diploma. And that is what we want to ensure, because our policies feed into the lives of Ghanaians. Our policies are not for show. They are not for...
But I don't think how MPP said they want basic education to terminate at SHS. They've also said that before, actually. So that this is not that new.
Yes.
Where you say that everybody must at least have a high school certificate.
Yes.
I think the MPP have also made that point.
Definitely, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the point is, how enforced is it? Who are those getting the basic education that is terminating at SHS? How many girls, for example, are getting that? Are we ensuring that they are getting?
So how are you going to ensure it?
Oh, we will have a division of the police ensuring
to enforce it. So if somebody doesn't go to school, what will you do?
Well,
you arrest them or their parents?
There will be question. Look, I have not in Ghana. I was in a school outside of Ghana where I missed school for one day, and that was because my father misunderstood something, and he was written to and fined.
He was fined?
Yes.
For you not going to school for one day?
Yes, and I was put into detention.
For one day?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, I was put into detention. Look, we can look. You see, you look at it. You work with the Ministry of Education. I am sure there will be sanctions. And I'll say this. The other day I was thinking about. I think I sent you a message about it. Actually, we tend to look at discipline as punitive. I don't know which one of you I sent that to. But discipline ought not to be punitive, or ought not to be looked at as punitive. Discipline is just telling you this is the right way to do things. And a lot of the time now, we don't want to do the right thing. We see that if someone is enforcing us to do the right thing, they are punishing us because we don't have our way. So for something like enforcing compulsory education, ultimately it's for the child's own good and it's for the country's good. So we must enforce it.
Let's talk about the economy. The biggest problem in Ghana for mixed young people is lack of work, unemployment. What's the PPP's solution?
Well, you see, I think that it's also here on your program that I heard the government statistician talk about how Agric is the largest employer.
Yes.
And yet we haven't resourced Agric enough. We are still using, farmers are still using implements, manual implements. Maybe this is the time we want to look at it and say, let us resource Agric enough. First of all, where are the farms? Where are they located? Are they accessible? We don't even have access to these places. Do you know, Bernard, that Ghana has a map of roads we call the N roads, the interregional highways, that have been left undone for years. One typical one is the N1, which comes from Avle and should have gone all the way through to Elubo. But we have a motorway that is under disrepair right now, part of the N1. Then we have the Tetakwashi to Malam, which is also part of the N1. And then beyond that, it's okay. Well, if we're going to Elubo, it means that the road from Malam all the way through to Cape Coast, all the way through to Takoradi should be dualized and should be first-class motorway. There's also another, I think it's the N12, that goes from Elubo all the way up to the north. And there are about, I think, 19 or so of these roads which have not been done. I think for the Kumasi Road, I've got to look at the numbers, the number, the N, whatever it is. We took a loan some time ago, I think during the Kufu era, 750 million, we haven't fixed. My point is that we need to have access to these agric areas. The moment you have access to these areas, you're opening the country up to investment. You open the country up to investment. These places are accessible. You're creating jobs for these people. I'll use my small business that I do in the Afajatu South District, what we call the Eastern Corridor. I think that's the N12 or so. And along that road, I mean, I find it difficult going to visit these women who are doing this palm oil for me because the road is very bad. Now, if I were to get some investments to put up a factory or anything there, I mean, it's almost discouraging to be able to go there. And then, but if I'm able to put a factory there, which is based on palm oil, I'm able to employ people. I'm able to provide jobs in these areas. I'm able to have value addition because it's not only the palm oil that we're producing, all the other services and products and particularly services will come to add to it. And then I'm able to provide more jobs in those areas. So these are some of the areas we look at. Open up the country to investments. Make sure you put in infrastructure, be in the roads.
But where are you going to get the money from? So you're talking about making basic and secondary education compulsory and free. You're talking about opening up the road infrastructure, more roads. So that is resource driven. Resourcing
the agric sector.
So where are you going to get the money?
Mechanizing it. Oh, yes, there's plenty of money.
Is it?
Yes.
Tell me where it is because I don't seem to have any.
It's in an bloated government.
Okay.
Where we are satisfying an elite few, and it's also in corruption, where we are losing, I believe, $3 billion a year, as they say, to corrupt practices. And therefore, the way to curb it and to ensure that we keep the money here is to look at how government spends and indeed what corruption is doing to us and curb corruption. We say in the PPP that we are an incorruptible government, and we seriously are. We will put in measures to ensure that we curb corruption from the get-go. There are parts of the Constitution, in fact, even the DCs and MMD voting for them will be a part. But I'll tell you what, we talk about public declaration of assets. We are asked that we should declare our assets if you seek political office and all that. But what it actually asks us to do is we put a piece of paper, supposedly with our assets declared on it, put it in an envelope, and then we send it to the Auditor General. He seals it. He doesn't open it. And if we are saying it should be public declaration, then we must be able to declare it. It is published and everybody sees what you have. Currently, we don't have that. So one of the ways we will curb that is the public declaration of assets. Another way, of course, is to ensure that the Public Prosecutor's Office is independent. It's an independent office from the Ministry of Justice. Currently, if the public prosecutor does find cases of corruption, it's still beholden on the Attorney General to decide if they want to prosecute these cases or not. And therefore,
but I thought that's why they brought Martin Amidu's office, SP.
Yes, but still.
OSP.
Yes, but is he independent enough to prosecute cases? There are certain cases where the Attorney General can decide, I'm not prosecuting. And in saying
but
so,
he's the one doing the prosecution. That's why he's the office of special prosecutor.
Yes,
so the idea
but
is that
has he been given those resources? No, he's not independent of the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
You know, and as we can see, he came out with a report recently that was like a bombshell. But and I would like to sit here personally and commend the Attorney General for her initial letter she wrote about the Japa deal, which is a different conversation, but being unconscionable. And that may be the power of a woman. So, so
I'm basically saying you're saying you create an office independent of the Attorney General to prosecute.
So that prosecutes.
And I was pointing out that Amidu's office was supposed to do that, and you're saying it's still not independent of the.
Yes. And then, of course, there's also the right to information bill. We are still not.
It's been passed.
Yes, it's been passed, but we are paying for information. I believe that issue went to court, and in fact, I met Susu, the young man in there. I think they had something to do. But anyway, the right to information bill people must have a right to information so that they can say, you know what, we need to see this public declaration, we need to see this person's assets, we need to know more about this case. And then there's a transparent government, you know. So these are some of the things we want to do. If you're able to curb corruption, we are able to save ourselves a whole lot of money.
How is that?
I mean, if you're talking about how we will build these roads, like I said, we took $750 million to build the Kumasi Road. We still have the Kumasi Road as it is. Rather than that, instead of that, we have a beautiful flyover coming up at Pokwasi. And yet...
let's talk about the campaign, how it's going, because I want to sort of move this on. I've heard you on education, I've heard you on corruption, I've heard you on the economy. Where have you been? This year's campaign seems a bit low-key. Some people feel that the lack of in-doom is affecting the PPP brand because... unlike certain parties, he is the brand. So his absence from the campaign is affecting the campaign. What's your comment on that?
It's true. We are a party, we are a growing party. And Dr. Indom was human. He's growing, and he's decided he doesn't want to do this anymore. He wasn't in a position to do it anymore. And has asked me, we are on social media a lot. We've gone to a few places. We've gone to Obom, Domiabra, we've gone to Amasama, we've gone to Akemreda, we've gone to my hometown. Today we are embarking on another tranche of to the West Central and Western region. But
do you aim to do all 16 regions before election day?
We'll do all 16 regions, yes.
Because some people are on their second round.
Those people have lots of money and they've been in power before, so they have lots of resources. Good for them. You know, if the Ghanaian heart wants something different, they will do something different.
When you go around, what do you hear? Do you feel people, because people's voting behavior doesn't seem to suggest they want a third force? Because actually they seem to be giving the third group fewer and fewer votes. Well, and we have the data to show this.
It's going to change this year.
Why?
It will change this year because people have realized, you know what, the two big parties, like I said in one of my speeches, are two sides of the same coin. The shine of the coin only depends on where you stand. And that is it. People have decided, you know what, it's no different. These are they're doing the same things. So they do want a third force. And if for nothing at all, people want to vote to show these other two that we have an option. And therefore, yes, we will go out there. You will see us in your regions. We will stop to say hello to you and ask for your votes. You must want something different. Ghana cannot continue like this. And to want that something different, you have to do something different. It's not in my power. I will campaign to you. I will appeal to you. But the people also must want something different.
So they should vote for you for that change to happen.
Yes. I mean, there's so much hopelessness and despondency, and you're almost throwing out your hands in the air saying, oh, I don't know what else to do. The what else to do is the PPP.
Let's hear some quick comments.
All right, a lot of comments coming in for you, Bridget. Good morning. Tell Madam Bridget I see a lot of potential in her. I wish her the best in her endeavors. This is Papo from Teshinunwa. Wow, Bernard, wow. These are the kind of leaders we need in this country. We need people who talk and want action. I'd like to entreat the smaller parties to come together by the year 2024 to end the duopoly. I'm sure he means duopoly.
Yeah.
But this year, dear, Abi, you know that Ghana funny partisanship politics. They've made their minds up already, but it won't take us anywhere to. Good morning, CBS team. All right. Bernard, in Takoradi, Nana Kofi Abuna IV goes around picking children to go to school. Parents who fail to send their kids to school are summoned to the palace and fined. Bridget has very practical ideas for Ghana. Thank you, Bridget. This is Ikea in Roman Ridge sending that. All right. So there's somebody taking initiative to get their kids in school.
Are you facing any pushback because you're a woman as a candidate? The only two of you and Nana Konedu are the, and if you don't, sorry, three of you, three of the, I can't know everything. I just forget. Three of you out of, is it 14? 12 candidates. Are you getting any pushback on that when you campaign?
No, not really. And I keep saying that I must say thank you to the women who went before us. I think people are doing their best to be politically correct these days. I have had some on social media, someone thinks I'm a single woman, how dare I want to be in leadership, and God should punish me for that.
Seriously?
Yes, a woman said that on social media. But apart from that, nothing, I tend to see my glass as half full. So when I'm put out there and people lash out, I tend to look at the positives as well. And there's a lot of positive that comes out of it. So thank you that I'm not facing a lot of that. And I think the Ghanaian voter has become more circumspect or more discerning to know that leadership is not the sole remit of men, women and men, and it's not a gender thing. It's a value thing. It's a matter of values. So,
how optimistic are you? 26 days to go.
I'm very optimistic. I know that Ghanaians want change. I know that the women believe in another woman. I'm getting a lot of support from all kinds of people, both in cash, because we are doing a fundraising. And if you're touched by this, just go and dial. I'm using your platform, please. Go and dial *713 *303 hash. *713 *303 and donate from all networks. So we are getting a lot of support from them as well.
*713 *303
hash. Yes.
And you can use any network.
You can use any network. And we're getting support from people who believe that something has got to change, who believe that this is something new. We say we are a new kind of leadership, and we are indeed a new kind of leadership. I'll tell you, especially to the youth, you are growing. And I interact with a lot of people in their 70s, 60s and 70s. I'm a member of Accra Lawn Tennis Club, so I'm always there with them. And I listen to them talk. And you find that there's a lot of disillusionment. This is not what they thought Ghana ought to be when they were young and they saw independence. And we must move away from that. We, the youth, have a future. And we must stop, living in the past and look towards with a vision of a certain Ghana in the future. And luckily, I have a little bit of youth on my side, I believe.
In Ghana, once you are below 60, you are young.
PPP is a very youthful party. We will drive you to realize that future, or at least the growth that comes towards it.
We wish you well. We'll talk again. It's 26 days to the election.
Bernard. Thank you very much.
Brigitte Dzogbenuku is the flag bearer for the PPP. Awake, a new hope for Ghana, they call it.
Sir.
And she wants you to support them by voting. The short code *713 *303 hash. Koki, how was that?
I think it was great. Bridget knows I have a lot of questions for her. I know we don't have time anymore, but I'm very proud of you for putting yourself forward for this, because I know it's not easy.
At all.
We talk a lot about the challenges that women face when they put themselves forward for public office, and especially for elected office. So I wish you all the best. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk and chat at some time. I have a lot of questions for you, especially with regard to using new media for what you're trying to do. So maybe you and I can have a chat on one of the new media platforms.
Nice one.
So we can delve into some issues that affect us as well.
Well, we'll take a short break. When we come back, there's a lot happening.